The premise of ArtsNow is bringing the arts, all types of art, whether that's dance, music, visual arts, into the academic subjects. And the teachers had to identify standards that they wanted to work with. Then the ArtsNow staff came back, they sat down, they listened to the teachers say, well, I really want to teach this, how could we, incorporate this, whether that be dance or drawing or music.
And the students walk away not only with the content knowledge, but also the knowledge of things that they might not get in a regular classroom. It's integrating and teaching us more than we could ever get out of a book.
So it's really a whole sort of curriculum approach and bringing the arts into that curriculum.
One big project that we did a huge Africa project over the ethnic groups in Africa. That's our standards. And what my students did was, Melissa came in and she taught my students an authentic African welcome dance. And my students loved it. I didn't know how they would gravitate to it, how they would take it, if they would think it was silly, but I found them walking through the hallways, doing the dance, singing the song. And through that project, I wanted my kids to be able to see how present day dance came about. So each group had an ethnic group, and then they had to create their own tribal dance, incorporating the movements from the original African dance that Melissa had taught us. And then from there, Shannon came in and showed us how to use materials and provided us with materials and techniques on how to make our own African tribal mask. And then the students put on a presentation providing information of that ethnic group, the government of that country, and performing their African tribal dance, welcoming people to their country.
Our first activity with the students was a galaxy painting where we turned off all the lights in the classroom and created galaxy paintings with found materials as our paintbrushes. The students had to engineer their own paintbrushes, and if something didn't work, they had to go back and fix it, adding in that design process to the paintbrushes. Then they created their galaxies based on the different types of galaxies that we discussed in class and that Shannon discussed with us before our lesson. And it was a really incredible experience, the students getting to paint in the black light. And then after that, Melissa came in and worked with us. Each student was assigned a different planet, and they worked in small groups or partners to create choreography that goes along with that planet. They also worked with her to pick music to fit with the feel and the elements that kind of go along with that planet as well. And we put all that together into a big presentation.
Got a nice shape.
They had a desire to retain the information. Their motivation was there. ArtsNow helped my students lose apathy and gain excitement for the curriculum and the content of social studies.
Throughout this project, the students were extremely engaged in everything we did, and I felt that it helped with retention of the information. You go ask any of my students right now the different types of galaxy, they could rattle them off just very quickly because they actually were physically making those galaxies with the paint.
ArtsNow allowed my students to experience Africa without ever stepping on a plane, without ever leaving the confines of our school. And that was an amazing experience for them. They still talk about that experience to this day and want to know, when is the next project going to be? When is ArtsNow coming back? What are we doing next?
Another project that we're working on, we started with circuits this past week, and Melissa came and we had learned just the different elements and components of a circuit, and she talked to us about those as well, but then had the students physically be those parts, like a switch or a wire or an insulator and a conductor or a power source. And I'm really excited because next week, or at the end of this week actually, we're going to be working on wearable circuits with Shannon, and all the students are going to design their own clothing, and we have lily pad Arduino kits that we're going to sew into clothes, and have like a little fashion show on May 10th.
As a principal, I think one of the greatest impacts that I've seen with working with ArtsNow this year is just really student engagement. They've learned things about these standards and these units, whether that be science, language arts, social studies, and they're going to remember this information much later in life than if they sat in a class and did a book work or did a worksheet.
I had a couple parents tell me, I want to come and see what you're doing. My child told me that you're working on this African project, and the presentation that we presented, she was like, my son said, I had to be here. I had to see what they were doing. And she said he's never been excited about learning something like that before. And she was happy that ArtsNow was a part of the Bexar County school system.
This has been really beneficial for me and my students. It's allowed them to get out of their comfort zone and out of their desk and learning physically with all these different materials. We can fit this in with math, we can fit this in with science, we can fit this in anywhere, language arts, social studies. All of these elements that ArtsNow offers can easily be integrated seamlessly into our curriculum, and I hope that this partnership continues because I've seen the benefits firsthand and it's worth our time.
And so if given the opportunity, I absolutely want to definitely continue working with ArtsNow. You know, it's kind of starting to grow momentum in our building, and I want it to touch even more students and even more teachers.
I've had various teachers come to me and ask me, well, how can I be a part of ArtsNow? I would like to do it. Is it going to continue? And I think it would be an amazing experience for other teachers to witness what ArtsNow can do for your students and help to bring your standards to life.